Explain what that means.
And they're like, yeah, me, pick me. I mean, literally.
And that is why Kody Brown is going to die alone. Hi, my name is James, and this is my take on reality. In this episode, I want to talk about Kody Brown and his appearance on the tell-all for TLC's Sister Wives and how ridiculous it is. I'm going to apologize in advance. There may be some French spoken in this rant, if you will, but we're going to get through it either way. Now, before I get started, I first want to say thank you to anybody who subscribed to the channel. You guys are awesome. You're amazing. You're wonderful. You're great. And for those of you not subscribed, wouldn't you want to be all those things? Think about it. Consider subscribing to the channel. It's easy to do. It's free. And hey, it really helps the channel out. It helps me out. And hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So go ahead and hit that HBO special, which stands for Help a Brother Out Special, by clicking the subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications on when I upload new videos, because I'm going to try to drop these things all the time, and it might be a little rando, and I don't want you guys to miss out. Now, if you want to share the videos, that's fine. I would love if you did it. And remember, sharing is caring. So why not share the love? It's around Christmas time. The holiday spirit should be hitting everybody. Share the videos. Also, if you guys are getting anything from the videos, don't hesitate to go and give me a thumbs up and let me know that you guys are still appreciating the content. Now let's get it. During the tell-all, Kody has betrayed himself. He has revealed himself to be a small-minded, insecure, insignificant asshole. Because when rubber meets the road, Kody sat there on that stage, and not only did he talk about his wives as though they were children, and we watched that all season, where he criticized and tried to belittle Christine for having her own thoughts and opinions, when he tried to manipulate Christine by telling her that if she tried to assert herself and seek her own happiness, that she could not only lose her daughter, but she could lose all her money. When he sat there and he tried to manipulate Christine into staying, and when that didn't work and she sold her house and she was ready to leave, he tried to manipulate Janelle into purchasing her home because he himself couldn't do it and he wanted to own Christine's house. So he tried to manipulate Janelle into doing it even though she didn't have a place to stay. And as Janelle laid out, she couldn't afford to do Christine's house. And she told him that. And he ignored it and blew past it. Kody has systematically disregarded and discredited everything that his wives have told him. Now, when rubber meets the road, that was all disquieting. How he was treating Mary and dragging her along and trying to use her for money because he had said, oh, we divorced, I don't need her, I don't want her around, I can't stand her. Up until the time he needed that money to help pay off Kody past, and all of a sudden, if she want to participate and partner with us, then that'd be fine too, because, Mary is a part of the family. 2 minutes ago, you said she wasn't part of the family. You didn't give a damn what happened to her. If she went out and she went off and got married to somebody else, you could care less. You were kind of happy about that, the prospect that she might go off with somebody else and leave you and your family alone. But you didn't want to do it. You didn't want to do it. And you look like a jerk then. But what made you a colossal ass was when you sat on that stage and raised your hand and said, oh, these women, they were so desperate to be a part of my life and my situation because I was all that in a can of beans, that they sat there and said, oh, pick me, because I'm a dog and I don't deserve to be a human being. That's what you did to your wives. And these aren't just women that you're talking about. You're not just talking about a pack of bees that you just sitting on a street corner hustling and trying to talk to. These are the mothers of your children. These are the mothers of your kids. That you sat there, and even if that was what you thought, you idiot, you don't get on national TV and talk about how they dogs and they were begging you to be a part of their situation. What message do you think that sends to your sons? That this is what women are for? This is what women are good for. Men as superior beings, we deserve to be treated with respect and dignity and obedience. And that's what it comes down to. They need to be loyal to us because we're so wonderful and we come into their lives and make their lives better. They don't do anything for us. We contribute to them and they don't give us anything. Is that what you're telling your sons? What about your daughters? You're telling them that, oh, the only way you can be happy is if you find a man that you want and you beg him to be a part of his life so that he can grace you and bless you with an opportunity to make your life better. Is this what you're telling your daughters at home? Is this what you're telling little Savannah and Truly and Ariel and all the other little girls that you had? That they should be weak and insignificant? That they don't matter? Because that's what you did to your wives. That's what you did to your wives. Now, I understand that in some regards, there are going to be some people who get here and say that they feel bad for Kody and he's going through a divorce and he has feelings and all this, that, and other. That's all fine and good. But here's at the end of the day, there's constructive emotional outlet, and there's destructive emotional outlet. This is destructive. For you to lay in that misery and to wallow in that place where you would talk to your wives this way. Where you would look at your wives and say things like, oh, and it's not a thing of, oh, he was hurt so bad and then all of a sudden he started disrespecting his wives. That's bullshit. He's been disrespecting his wives. He's been talking crap to his wives. He's been doing this. This is how he's been treating them. This is why he's getting a divorce. He's not getting a divorce because he was treating them so good. He was buying them houses, buying them cars, taking care of their kids, and doing all these things, giving of himself. And then all of a sudden he just showed up because they had a better opportunity. They met a nicer guy, better looking guy, a richer guy, and they left him. They left him because they had to feel security in themselves. They left him to improve their lives. They left him to set an example to their daughters and their sons. That if you treat your women like this is what can happen to you. That's why I was so happy when Christine left earlier in the season. Because that's what you're teaching your sons. You're teaching your sons that, guys, if you treat your wives this way, this is what can happen to you. And you see your daddy sitting over there crying in his beer and Skittles. This is what can happen to you. If you treat your woman like this, you take her for granted, you don't assume that she's contributing anything to your life, then when she removes herself from your life, you'll be left in misery. This is what can happen to you. With your daughters, you do the same thing. You teach them that you don't have to take everything that a man gives you just because he wants to give you. You don't have to reduce yourself to accept the minimal effort that he puts into the relationship. You don't have to do that. That's what Christine leaving had told her daughters. You don't have to accept this from a situation. You don't have to live in a relationship. The relationship doesn't make you. You make the relationship. I will say that again. The relationship shouldn't make you. You make the relationship. If you as a whole person want to be a part of Kody's life or be a part of a marriage, then you go and you make that relationship as much as you can. You should be getting something from it. But if you are defining yourself by the relationships that you are in, you are failing yourself. You're failing yourself. And Kody just doesn't get that. He doesn't understand that. He thinks that by him belittling his wife, somehow he's winning something. I'm not afraid. When Christine said, oh, he's such a coward, he's a coward because he won't face the reality of where he is. If you're not attracted to your wives, you don't want to be a part of your wife's situation, you don't want to lay with them, you don't want to talk to them, you don't want to communicate with them, then why do you keep them around? What's the point? What's the purpose? Why would you keep her around if you can't? You're disgusted by her. Why would you keep her around? That makes you a coward because you're afraid of poverty, like you said. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not a coward. I don't fear anything but poverty. He thought that shit was clever. So he heard that from somebody or he came up with that himself and he thought that that was a smart thing to say. I almost dropped the F-bomb, y'all. Here's the messed up thing about it. Had that been a woman, could you imagine if that was a woman sitting on the stage and you were talking to her about her husband and her husband said, oh, she's afraid to show emotion. She's afraid to commit herself to a relationship. Could you imagine a woman sitting on that stage and saying, I ain't afraid of nothing except for poverty? This streaming network, YouTube would be on fire. Twitter would be on fire. Reddit would be on fire. Social media would be on fire. Tearing that woman down because the only thing she cared about is the money. Men can be gold diggers too. And Kody is demonstrating that he doesn't see his wives as partners. He doesn't see them as equals. He sees them as lowly, dog-ridden opportunities. They're opportunities. It's an opportunity for him to stay on the show. It's an opportunity for him to be able to go out and sell his wares at the sportsman events and the gun shows. It's an opportunity for him to be perceived a certain way. It's an opportunity for him to be elevated within his faith and his church and that he's no longer a member of. But there may be people who are running in those circles who look at him and say, wow, this Kody dude got it going on. He's doing real well. There was a show years ago called My Five Wives. It was another polygamous family that the TLC was trying to roll out around the time that they were talking about getting rid of sister wives and discontinuing sister wives. And this is the time where Kody and his wives all had homes in Las Vegas. And you can see that this guy from My Five Wives wanted to create that same circumstance and situation for his wives. He'd even talked about like the one big house and buying one big house and having like apartments and them all kind of getting their own homes and him paying for his own homes. The problem was he couldn't afford it because they hadn't been on the shows that long and they had only lasted for 2 seasons and they got rid of them. And in that regard, Kody had kind of become a folk hero amongst some of these polygamists. And because he became the example for a lot of these people, he started to feel like he was an important guy, that he was significant and that he was relevant. And he started taking it to the next level. Now, when they talk about like all these people change and all of a sudden I was always going to go for polygamy and they had always said they were going to run their will into mine, what he's actually talking about, he's not talking about running their will into his. What he's talking about is that the money has changed the situation. Money will change you. And money has changed their situation. When they were poor, I completely believe Janelle's situation and her description of events. When they were poor and they were having money issues and they were having to cling to each other for survival, then it was, we are all partners. We're all in this together. We're all responsible to make this family work. But as he started to develop money and started to get the big head and started to think that he's the one that makes this whole show, he doesn't even realize that this isn't his show. This show is called Sister Wives. Kody describes this as his show. He thinks because he's the one guy, the one foil, that this is about his life and how he deals with having multiple wives. But no, idiot, the TLC people, when they proposed this show, I'm sure they proposed it as, how do these women deal with having one husband? It's not the other way around. Kody sees this as his show, and because he sees it as his show, and his show has achieved some modicum of respect and some modicum of success, he sees it as his success, and these women are trying to attach themselves to him and his success. And so when he starts talking about, oh, they were begging to be a part of my situation, dude, you didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So what situation were they begging to be a part of? And as we look forward, and as Janelle left, Christine left, Mary's gone, and you're left with Robin, this is not Sister Wives. This is Robin and Kody. Your show won't work. And so the only thing you can do is go out and try to seek additional sister wives. And this is where we kind of rubber road this thing. If women haven't watched these shows and they're unaware of how Kody was, all you need to see is him saying that you are going to be a pick-me. You're a pick-me. You want to be a part of this situation, and once you become part of the situation, you're now dating or potentially marrying an established guy. This should be a warning to anybody who is considering being a part of this situation. You're never going to be an equal to him. You're always going to be something that he's using. Just like he tried to use Mary, just like he tried to use Christine, just like he tried to use Janelle. We've seen example after example in this entire thing of how he's trying to use his wives and utilize his wives to meet his own ends. Now, if Kody, if what you say is true and you're such a genius and you're a mindful person and you're so wonderful, then you should be able to achieve without these ladies. Let's see your work. Now, when it comes down to his demand for respect, in my world, I don't need love. I need respect. You can't, there is no love without respect. You can't love me and not respect me. What he's talking about isn't love. He's not talking about respect. He's not talking about loyalty. He mix matches a lot of words that are very flowery. What he's talking about is obedience. When he says that this person isn't loyal to me, what he's saying is that this person isn't obedient to me. They're not doing what I want them to do when I tell them to do it. And being a fool, he doesn't realize that obedience is not loyalty. You might have a job. And at that job, your boss tells you something and you do that thing that they tell you to do. You obey their orders. But that doesn't mean that you're loyal to them, because if somebody else comes along with a better opportunity, a better job that pays more, you get more vacation time, you have a better working environment, more opportunities for advancement, you're going to say, see you later, and you're out. Because you're not loyal to them. Just because you follow directions doesn't mean that you're loyal. And this is where he's making his mistakes. And this is why I say that he's going to die alone. You keep treating and you keep mistreating your wives this way. You keep treating people this way. You are going to isolate yourself from everybody that you care about. And people are going to start to realize that they don't need to be a part of your situation in order for them to find happiness, because you yourself aren't the source of happiness. He treats it as though he's the only reason why these people can be happy and the only pathway that they can take to find happiness for themselves. Sir, your road is condemned. You're out of order. You're dead end street. You, my friend, are the cul-de-sac, and you lead to the same place or destination as the cul-de-sac that you sold in Las Vegas. Nowhere. My name is James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die.